Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, J. Up next, how to fix Derrick Henry and the offensive line. Let's talk. The Baltimore Ravens are getting geared up to face off against the Kansas City Chiefs. And we have a lot of questions to answer, but we have to answer them on the fly. There's not a lot of time to sit down and pull up to the desk and pull out paper and pencil and scratch things out. We absolutely have to figure it out and do it fast. And so when I'm thinking about Derrick Henry and the offensive line, they kind of go hand in hand. The Baltimore Ravens run game has been shut down over the last couple of weeks. I think in the Cleveland Browns game, week number 2, we had 50 yards less total rushing. This past game, we had 85 yards total rushing. 2 weeks, 135 yards. Now, I don't know about you, but a Baltimore Ravens team that has been number 1 or 2 over the last 5 years in the run game, especially when Lamar Jackson has been healthy, is not a team you expect to have only 135 rushing yards in 2 games. But the numbers are the numbers, okay? And the blocking has just not been good. So I was waiting to see what came out from the PFF grades. And I'm not one who leans on grades a whole lot, but I wanted to see if something would validate or invalidate what I had been thinking. And when the grades came out, surprisingly, every offensive lineman for the Baltimore Ravens had a grade pass blocking wise 70 or above. Now 70 is just barely passing, no play on words, but it would be adequate. Right? Now all of them had a below 60, if I'm remembering correctly, run blocking grade, which would explain why the run game has not gotten on track over the last 2 games. And the grading for week number 2 was even lower than this. Now, the weakest grades or the lowest grades for the Baltimore Ravens were Andrew Voorhees, the left guard position that we had in question for a couple of seasons is still now weak and vulnerable. He's been bad all season in both pass blocking and run blocking. And then Roger Rosengarten, a guy who we thought would have a breakout season. He would just double down on his rookie season and come out with a good performance. He had the lowest run blocking and pass blocking grade of all 5 starters. Something interesting is happening. Daniel Falele is seemingly improving. I didn't say he had improved a whole lot, but he's not the weakest link. And in truth, he has not been the weakest link this season. That has been Andrew Voorhees. So we don't have a great offensive line. This offensive line is average. You guys have heard me say it this way. At their best, they're average. Okay? And I'm not sure if there's a way to get them to be good. But I think one thing that would help the Baltimore Ravens offensive line, which then would help Derrick Henry, is to make it simple, stupid. Right? And what I mean is I got to thinking, like, of all the things I had played in football, from Pop Warner to middle school to JV, then varsity, right? And when I was an offensive lineman in Pop Warner, before I lost weight and became fast and became a running back, was offensive line blocking. And they just taught the basics. You fire off the ball, you get your hands on the guy in front of you, and you drive him to the end zone. Right? Basic. You take good steps, you explode, you get your hands up, you explode through the pads. Once you get your hands on, you drop them. Now, I don't know how many of you were football players in elementary or how many of you actually were offensive linemen when you played in elementary, but it was basic. And that's what I'm saying for the Baltimore Ravens. Make your blocking basic. You can do that on the fly. See, it doesn't matter if the left guard needs to pull or the right guard needs to pull, or if the left tackle needs to dig out. It doesn't matter if they can't do it. It doesn't matter take 4. It doesn't matter what the blocking scheme is if you can't block. So what about we just fire off and move forward? What if we just go back to a dive offense? We're moving straight forward. Lamar Jackson under the center. You turn around, you hand it to Derrick Henry, or you fake it to Derrick Henry. A gap, B gap, off tackle. You see, because the 2 fumbles that Derrick Henry has had, well, he's had 3, but the 2 fumbles he's lost this season, there has been somebody pursuing him from the backside, catching him basically before he can make a move and break the line of scrimmage. This is not me going to bat for Derrick Henry. He's a professional, a superstar, a Hall of Famer. So fumbling is inexcusable. But if you go back and watch the fumbles, that's how they've gotten him. Or a guy popping through the line of scrimmage, getting him behind the line of scrimmage. Either way, that's how they got him. And I know and understand that if you're not expecting somebody to get you from behind, you may be mishandling the ball. But nevertheless, what if we just fire it off, put our hands on our guy? And here's another thing that I thought about. When they got Derrick Henry, he was basically lateral to the line of scrimmage. That ball doesn't come out if he's squared. That ball doesn't come out if he's going towards the A gap. That ball doesn't come out if he's going towards the B gap. Why? Because he can see take 5. Because he can see who he's taking on. This past game, Derrick Henry is not credited for breaking any tackles. You've never heard a game from Derrick Henry that has that kind of number. 0 broken tackles. You know why? Because teams have learned, make the Ravens run behind the line of scrimmage laterally, and we can shut down that run game. So you know how to fix that? Change it up. Go straight at him. See, if he's only going to get 50 yards, at least get 50 yards going straight at the line of scrimmage. Not laterally, then having to square up, then trying to make somebody miss. No, just square up, A gap, B gap, off tackle, dive, counter trade. That's it. Old school, Pop Warner, middle school football. Because if this dynamic run game isn't working, surely we can do basics. I think that's how we can fix it. Old school, put your hands on the defender in front of you and drive him to the goal line. Because all this other stuff ain't working. You guys let me know what you think. Do the Baltimore Ravens need to simplify their run concepts in order to get back on track? I'm out.